Walmart employees, what's the worst thing you've seen inside the store? So I used to stock the crafts section on overnights. I'm kinda an awkward person, so no human contact was great for me. This old guy on a scooter insisted upon sitting in my aisle for, like, hours, just staring at the needles. Okay, whatever. I stocked everything I could, but finally I needed him to move, and honestly, I was a little creeped out at this point. I mentioned it to my manager on the way to lunch. After lunch, he was gone. Turns out, he had died there like 5 hours ago. Story 2. I used to paint houses in Seattle, and one day there was a dude on the corner. Looked like a run-of-the-mill homeless guy in a wheelchair sitting folded over front down. I first saw him in the morning as I was walking into the apartment complex we were painting in. Come lunchtime about 4 hours later, he's still there, exact same position. Now, when I say folded over, I mean this guy looked like he just up and flopped over dead. No way I could have ever fallen asleep like that. It looked to be the least comfortable way one could if they were still capable of feeling anything at all. So I grabbed my lunch, and on the way back, I saw my boss. I pointed out the guy, saying he's been like that for at least a few hours. Boss mentions also having seen him like that earlier, goes up to a nearby cop and points him out, then we go back inside. Well, on the way out for the day, the guy was not in that spot anymore. I assumed the worst, as like I said, that dude did not look like he was sleeping. But as I round the corner and walk another block, there he is sitting upright in his chair, eating a Big Mac. Story 3. Had a customer in a motorized scooter, his personal one, not store provided, come up to me at the sporting goods desk and asked me where the cans of compressed air were. I walk him over to some and he thanks me, grabs a can off the shelf, and proceeded to start huffing it right in front of me. That is someone not in a great state. It could be interpreted as like, oh, he's so bull he doesn't even care with it. But that lack of caring comes from, not confidence, but I think something a little sadder. I hope he gets help. Story 4. My time to shine. First job out of high school, 2009. Moved cross-country to be with my girlfriend. End up working at a Walmart as a janitor overnight in the worst part of town in Tulsa. Admiral Memorial for any locals. This place had everything it could under lock. High theft and a few people had died there. One night a guy's in the sporting goods area and wants to buy something. He takes his wallet out and sets it on the counter for a second. Thief walks up, grabs it, and runs off. The victim proceeds to use a golf club, chase the man down, and violently beat him in an aisle. Blood, broken neck. I'm like a 95% positive the guy died. Destroyed the aisle. Everyone in the store flipped. A bunch were calling people to view it in the CCTV room. My manager waved me down and asked me to clean up the aisle so the store would look nice in the morning. You know, the crime scene. I clocked out for lunch and quit the next day. Story 5. I've only been working at Walmart for 2 weeks. I've had 3 people lose their temper on me, 1 woman slam her cart into someone else's cart because she couldn't buy alcohol with an expired ID, and 1 guy tried to walk away with a whole cart of groceries, after which a different customer walked after him and literally dragged him back inside. Again, 2 weeks. Story 6. I worked at Walmart about 20 years ago, being the manager of the photo lab before digital took over, so my department was right next to the electronics department. I'm chatting with the manager of the electronics department, and all of a sudden, we hear a woman yell, "Here it comes!" We then see a middle-aged woman frantically scuttling down the aisle, holding her shorts near the back. She ran to the restroom, leaving a trail of liquid crap behind her. It looked like when a dog is sick and you're trying to get them out the door before they make a mess all over your carpet, and they keep stopping to crap every few seconds. An employee went in with a pair of pants off the shelf to help out. She put them on and made a beeline toward the exit without paying for them, leaving her soiled shorts in the stall on the floor. Story 7. It's kinda crappy to bring up because it's sad, and I'm not trying to make fun of the guy, but it's like 4 a.m. and this man dressed in a suit and fedora comes in. No face. I concluded some kind of cancer had eaten away at his face or something. All he had left was eyes and a massive cancerous hole. He just gurgled and we had to have him write down what he needed. It was sad, but damn, it scared the absolute crap out of me, and I never really forgot. Story 8. Not an employee, but a very frequent Walmart shopper. All the Walmarts around me are pretty nice. Never seen anything nasty going on. But there was an incident once that still sticks with me to this day. When I was younger, my mom had to grab meds at Walmart in the middle of a storm. It wasn't a bad storm or anything, just very rainy with a little thunder. But it was supposed to continue for several days, so of course, the store was packed. So we were in line at the in-store pharmacy, and there was a man who was clearly mentally disabled with a helper in the front of the line. The man between us and them was this dude who, in my young mind, must have been a lawyer. Did not fit the stereotypical Walmart smart look at all. Expensive-looking suit, perfectly gelled hair, literally carrying a briefcase. He looked kind of annoyed that he was there at all. He intensely reminded me of Patrick Bateman, just an air of disinterest and arrogance, and he was brushing his coat off every time anyone walked too close to him. Everything's fine, and the guy and his helper at the front of the line get their prescriptions and start to turn around. Just as they do, there's a huge thunderclap, and suddenly the power goes out in the store. It's not pitch black, but it's dark as hell, and immediately there's commotion in line. I look up just in time to witness a disabled man punch lawyer dude square in the face. Lights flicker and come back on. Lawyer man is standing there holding his bloody nose, looking like he's ready to end someone. Disabled guy's freaking out. Helper's profusely apologizing and trying to help. Lawyer guy waves him off with a glare, walks to the front, calmly says his name and info, and throws down some money. Pharmacist hands him prescription. He snatches it wordlessly and turns away, brushing past me, still holding his nose, leaving a trail of blood on the linoleum floor. I don't know why, but the entire thing felt so surreal. I still remember it like it just happened. Wildest thing I've ever seen in Walmart. Story 9. I worked at Walmart for all of my teenage years, and there was so much crap where it should not be. That's the most disgusting. The worst would have been when some thieves attempted to run out the door, followed closely by loss prevention, turned around and sprayed them with mace, which then wafted into the store. A few seniors had to be taken to hospital for respiratory issues. Everyone working in the store spent all day coughing as the mace lingered in the air, because heaven forbid they shut down the store and think of anyone's health. Silly OP, this is a corporation. Does shutting down the store make them more money? No. Why would they do it? Story 10. Worst ever. Some people signed up for an oil change, then threw one of those household bug bomb foggers into their car while they waited. When the technician went out to pull the car in, it was full of white smoke from the insecticide, and the interior was covered in thousands of roaches, all trying to escape the fog. We told them to leave. Worst this week. Guy signs up for an oil change, and the technicians find 2 live cats under the hood of the minivan. The owner came out to deal with it, saying they were his. Story 11. Other than the people freaking out and throwing crap, and one junkie who continuously stole cans of compressed air for dusting computers to do whippets in the handicapped bathroom, how that didn't end him I still don't know, one story stands out. This elderly obese woman came in with her service dog, a little chihuahua or something, probably for anxiety, gets one of the electric scooters, puts the dog with its leash into the basket. During the course of her shopping, the leash goes through the grate of the basket onto the floor and gets run over by the wheels of the scooter. The leash gets twisted up in the motor of the scooter. Eventually, the leash gets yanked tight and begins to strangle the dog. The dog uses what little air it has to panic, but quickly falls silent. The woman does nothing. Once she gets to the front of the store, she decides to check on the dog, strangled to death 6 inches in front of her. She flips crap and screams at every employee she can find, telling them to do something, save her dog. I guess she didn't know it was dead. It was their fault apparently, blah blah blah. The dog had been dead for almost 20 minutes before she even decided to check on it. Also pee and crap all over the inside of the cart that she didn't manage to notice or smell for 20 freaking minutes. I no longer work at Walmart. I unfortunately have no idea whether she sued or not, or what really came of it afterwards. Let me be the first to say this woman does not deserve an animal. That level of negligence is absurd. And then the audacity to blame it on literally anyone else when no one had any input on what happened at all. That was all you. That dog did not deserve that. Story 12. I was an overnight manager at the time. The store is located in the crappiest area of a major city at a 24-hour store. At around 2 a.m., the overnight loss prevention associate had just caught a guy shoplifting on the cameras, and I'd been called up to help him. Things go smoothly. The guy had stolen less than $50 worth of stuff and complied. Went pretty easy. After letting the shoplifter go, the loss prevention associate has some paperwork to do, so I jumped on the cameras to see what was going on in the store. I soon find a shady-looking individual lurking around the electronics department. He's clearly making sure no one is in the vicinity watching him. He sneaks into an aisle and grabs an all-in-one monitor and desktop combo wrapped in spider wrap. I still don't know why $1,000+ computer wasn't locked behind a cage, but anyway, he quickly takes it to a different aisle, easily works the spider wrap off the box, takes the computer out, and shoves it into his sweatpants. Slinking over into the clothing racks and apparel, he hides the computer in some pants, and he sneaks around for the next 15 to 30 minutes trying to watch the employees up front by the registers. At this time of night, only our cigarette aisle is open. All of a sudden, while watching a blonde lady in our only open register line and crouched behind a rack of shirts, he pulls out his dong and starts going for it. Then he wiped himself clean on a shirt that was hanging in front of him. At this point, we know we do not want to deal with him at all, so we call the cops. Well, as soon as he finished cleaning off, he heads back to where he hid the computer, puts it back in his pants, and starts to head our way. We realized he was going to get to us before the cops, so as soon as he passes our last point of sale, we head out of the monitoring room and confront him. It is here I should mention that we're supposed to be a hands-off store, as in, if we confront a shoplifter, we're supposed to stop them with words. But at this location in the middle of the night, everyone's a runner. Obviously, this guy decides to book it. We tackle him and pin him to the ground. Luckily, soon after, the police show up and we decide to let them handle it from there. Story 13. I worked customer service at a Walmart for a little bit, and one night, just as I was closing customer service down, a man came in screaming for help. He was wearing a white shirt, but it was drenched red in some areas. He said he was shot twice, and he thought he was gonna die. He lifted up his shirt to show us he wasn't just some druggie, and really needed help. Lo and behold, there were 2 holes bleeding around this man's torso. Luckily for him, an off-duty paramedic was in line buying groceries and called it in fast for the ambulance. Story 14. Not an employee, but I felt really bad for one. My brother was at Walmart with my friend and I. We were looking through pet stuff and there was an aisle with plungers at the end. Being the 13-year-old he was, my brother could not resist the temptation of picking one up and sticking it to the floor. We laugh a little. After he does this, he goes to put it back and the whole rack falls down. He's frantically trying to place all the plungers back as my friend and I are running away and cackling. Then an employee walks up and starts to help him. Apparently the whole shelf, 3 racks of plungers, was unstable, and as they were putting the last few on, the racks above clattered to the ground, and now there are probably 50 plungers rolling around on the floor. My friend and I are freaking dying watching from the clothing section. The employee just puts his head down, sighs, and tells my brother he can leave. We didn't get in trouble or kicked out, but I'm so sorry for that poor employee. It was still funny as hell though. Story 15. Just started a month ago, but I've already seen A. Crap-covered stall and the man attempting to take a bath in the bathroom to clean himself. B. I heard a father say to his daughter, "I will slap the crap out of you in the store and I don't care who sees." And C. A bag of crap. It wasn't a lot, so I'm going to assume a kid's crap, but it was hidden behind a Lego. Story 16. Let's see. I've seen people tripping balls. I've seen a guy walk in on 10-foot stilts, a guy with his dong out, a lady pulled her pants down to adjust her panties, a guy passed out from huffing an aerosol can, a chick passed out on the ground, low blood sugar, a car caught on fire, an employee died in his car in a parking lot, old, and lots of fights. I'm sure there's more, but I can't remember. No, I personally didn't see some of these, but I'm friends with employees. There's nothing to do in this town, so when something happens, I hear the stories a few times. Story 17. Mine's much more mild. Think of it as a palate cleanser for the rest of the horror stories in this thread. I worked at a Walmart for one summer during college. I was a courtesy associate according to my name tag. I preferred the title of cart wrangler. My job was to recover shopping carts and help customers get big stuff into their cars, trucks, and keep the parking lot clean. As a result, I had a particular disdain for a class of customers I referred to as oil changers. They'd run into the store to buy some automotive product, like engine oil or windshield washer fluid, use said product on their vehicle in the lot, and then leave a mess on their way out. My most memorable was a group of kids in their late teens and early 20s like myself at the time. Busted up little 4-banger sedan. I think it had no interior panels. They bought a trunk-mounted subwoofer box, installed it in the lot, and left the empty cardboard box for me to clean up. Yeah, it was a minor annoyance. But when there are 1 or 2 garbage cans in between each and every lane on the lot and you can't be bothered to use one, I think my annoyance is justified. Story 18. I worked as a photo lab specialist for 2 years and saw some really awful pics. The worst was a toddler surrounded by weed, buds, and guns. We had to get the on-duty cop involved when the guy came back to pick them up. Edit. More info on why the cop was involved. I believe the guy was in the pic with the kid and had gang signs with one hand and almost put a gun to the kid's head. It's been a while, so it's a bit fuzzy though. Story 19. Not an employee, but off-duty police officer. 2 homeless people had dug out a hole into the paper towel section and were living in it. They finally found them when someone complained about 2 people banging in the toilet paper aisle. Also had a homeless person take a homeless/alcoholic crap in the bike aisle. Those employees do not get paid enough. Story 20. At the time of this story, I was an overnight manager. While I was walking my rounds, I had an associate come up to me and tell me a customer told him to "Get the hell away from me or I'll end you, female dog," and that he was headed towards the hardware department. She gave me a quick description: headphones, hoodie, white guy. I radioed the overnight asset protection guy so he could locate him on camera and headed out to find him. I see someone matching his description facing the other way down an aisle in hardware, and I go to confront him. He turns around and he's holding a freaking hatchet. I keep my distance and ask him to leave. It's then that I realize he's talking to himself. His conversation with himself is very conspiratorial in nature. With my limited knowledge on the subject, I have always thought he was acting like someone in the middle of a strong schizophrenic episode might, and he scares the crap out of me. I quietly radioed someone to call the cops and to let them know about the hatchet. He picked up a few things and headed to the registers while I followed him from 20 feet back. We opened a register just for him and things went smoothly. He left the hatchet at the register, but I continued to follow him from there. As he got to the front door, a line of cops confronted him with assault rifles and shotguns out and ready. He complied, and it ended as well as I could have hoped. If he was in a schizophrenic episode, the cops probably scared the crap out of him. Like someone having a serious mental break. I just feel really bad for them. Like, yeah, being scared, perfectly understandable. You do not know what they're gonna do, and they have a weapon. Fair enough, OP, I'm not judging you, but I don't know. I wish there were an easy fix for it, but there isn't. That guy was probably so terrified when he came to. I hope at least he was directed towards some psychiatric help, whatever that looks like for him. Anyway, that is the last story for today. I would like to thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one.